Alright guys, just wanted to have a quick discussion with you on a flint and steel fire. So in here I have my flint and steel kit. This is just a simple pouch that I've made out of deer hide, and then I put a leather thong on the front of it so that I can just pull it out. Thong stays attached to the front flap. Flip it up, I have a secondary flap there, and inside is my flint and steel kit. So flint and steel was the common way for not only the woodsman or the trapper, outdoorsman. It was also quite common to be the way just the common family would be igniting or building their fires within their homes, to either build their fire for warmth or for cooking. So flint and steel was a really common early American way of starting fire for quite a period of time. And when they came out with the flintlock, it was pretty much the same technology, just put on the the backside of a rifle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera and I'm going to show you the contents of my flint and steel kit, and then we'll talk about those a little bit further. Stay with me, guys. Alright, so in my flint and steel kit, after I pull this thong open, flip it up, and inside I have the contents of my flint and steel kit. First thing is going to be either chert or flint. So you can find this all over. I have a container full of it. If you walk around a lot of times creek or river banks, that's where you're going to find a good portion of it. And what I look for when I'm doing it is I do two things. I click it together, and it usually has a much higher pitch than other softer rocks. So when you got two, like if you click it more so on metal, it has the higher pitch. So that's one thing. So like if you've got two rocks in your hand, you click them together, or on your metal, the one with the higher pitch typically has the greater hardness. Next thing is, a lot of times they have a very similar look. It's kind of like this dark brown kind of color to it is going to be more your flint, almost glass transparent on the surface level, and chert is going to have more variations of color, just in my experience. Next thing that I have is your striker. And there are tons of different strikers out here. This one is hand forged. I picked this up at the Mountain Man gathering I went to in Texas. And the way the striker works on this one is it covers 3 fingers. And so I'm right-handed, so I use it over my 3 fingers of my right hand, and then you can strike your flint. Hopefully you guys can pick up a couple of those sparks. Alright, I have another striker that was hand forged to look kind of like a snake. You can see how the head there, the tail there, and I typically put my index finger in the bigger end, and again quite similarly. Hopefully you guys can see some of those sparks. So the other thing I carry in my flint and steel kit that is a must, because the flint and the steel in general, you're not going to be able to get an ember off of just those 2 items. You're going to need something else to catch that spark to create the ember that you can blow into flame. So in most cases we use char cloth. So I've done quite a bit of videos on how to make char cloth, and so here in my flint and steel kit is a wad of char cloth. Different types of char cloth, or the material you choose to make your char cloth out of, will take the spark better. I found that sometimes if you make a char cloth out of, say, blue jean, it's harder to get it to accept the spark compared to if you use a cotton like t-shirt or bandana. It'll accept the spark much easier. So just from my experience. Another thing I tend to carry in my flint and steel kit is just a hank of jute twine that I've braided together, so that in a pinch, and I can't find any good tinders or anything like that, can't find any natural material, I can cut off a chunk of this, fray it all out, and start with something that I can get my initial flame with. So I always carry a little bit of jute twine in there and a piece of fat wood. Fat wood, heartwood, grease wood, whatever you want to call it. I carry a part of that too. So again, I just want to be able to get my fire going and get it to a flame to where I can add those tinders, kindlings, and eventually get fuel in there to where I can have a sustainable fire. So there's multiple ways that you can choose to strike your char cloth. Okay, you can choose, if you choose, you can put your char cloth underneath your flint, which is the way I tend to do it most often. You put it on top. That way tends to work as well. You can put it underneath, or you can hit your rock with your striker or your striker with your rock. I find that I hold my rock between my index and my thumb, put my char cloth between my index and my middle finger directly underneath, spread out to cover the most surface area, have the best chance for catching a spark. And then I will strike with my other hand to try to get it to catch. So let's take a couple strikes, see if we can just demonstrate how that works for you. And this is not, the easiest way to start a fire. Obviously, a ferro rod or open flame is much easier. This is the traditional way of doing it. And sometimes you just gotta play with your rock to find the edges that work best for you. A piece of char cloth starting to fall apart there, so just get a different piece. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see that well. Alright, and then you can blow that into your flame. Alright, so you had something much easier that could catch it. Sometimes the more char cloth you put underneath, the better and easier it's going to be for you to catch that flame. And I've also at times, from using the striker, because what happens is the rock ends up being harder than the metal, and you're actually removing pieces of the metal, and that's what makes the spark. So I have at times taken a sander, and I will sand that metal if I get too many nicks and things like in that, just to give it a fresh surface, and I'll get better sparks for a little while. So try out different rocks, try out different strikers. This striker seems to work better than this striker. Not all things are created equal. Two different makers, two different blacksmiths. I don't know what temperature they used, what core temperature, how long they tempered it, or what they did. So a simple and easy striker you can make is simply take a file and snap off a couple inch piece of it and sand or grind that one side, and that works perfect. The rocks, that's just going to take time and practice in collecting rocks and striking them on your striker to see what sparks and getting familiar with it. So I just wanted to show you my flint and steel kit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a follow-up video to this in building a fire with the flint and steel kit. So thanks for watching, guys. I know I was out for a little while with moving from Texas to North Carolina, but hopefully we'll get back in the swing of things, put out a couple videos every now and then, and hopefully it'll be stuff that you guys like, enjoy, and be able to learn. So thanks for watching, guys. God bless.